Could I welcome you all to the Darwinex Day, celebrating pretty much the launch of our new product and our 5th birthday, all at the same time. Yeah. My name is Dean FLETCHER, I'm the head of Darwinex here in the UK. Just like to introduce the panel, as they do. Over on the right here is Gary Delou, who's the head of sales here in the UK. Ali Saif, who is... What are you, Ali?
More of that later.
Ali is a spy sent here. No, Ali is a data scientist who works with us here in the UK. Tarek, who is the head of Darwinex in France. Javier, who invented, is that the right word? Invented Darwinex. Miguel, who invented Darwinex as well. And Nacho, who without him Darwinex wouldn't work. He's the head of client relations. And in the middle here is Mr. Darwinex himself, the Chief Executive Officer. Juan. Anyway, this is the first time we've ever done anything like this, so hopefully it'll go well. Hopefully you've all got plenty to drink, plenty to eat. We're going to spend about 45 minutes to an hour going through various things. I'm not going to give an agenda, because you'd probably get bored if I did. So we're just going to kick straight on with Juan introducing everything, and Ali's going to speak as well. We hope that many of you here are already clients of Darwinex and users of Darwinex. Many of you have come here to find out what Darwinex is. Many of you have come here to report on what Darwinex is. We believe that Darwinex is a trader movement, and we hope that in the fullness of time everybody in this room will not only be members of that movement, but will be helping us move that movement forward. So can I introduce, without any further ado, Juan Colón, the CEO of Darwinex, who is going to do what Juan does best.
I hope that doesn't mean bullshit. Well, I just got to grab this thing. Good now. Hello, hello. Yeah. So if somebody had told me and my brother pretty much 5 years to the day today that we'd have pretty much a full house coming from the Spanish backwater, which is Spain, with people who have come here without getting paid for listening to me for thing, I wouldn't have believed it. So thank you so much. I know there's people who come from very far. We've got people who come from Germany, from France, from Sweden, from all the way up back in north in London. And one of the most rewarding things about this is really that it's becoming a little movement in its own right. And for me to put a face to a Darwin or a user, a member that I've known for 3 or 4 years now, it's probably one of the most rewarding things that I've done. So I hope in the next 45 minutes I'm trying to tell you a story about why we think of this as a movement, and also to give you a couple of keys of what the movement has accomplished up to now, which is essentially nothing, with some hope and potential for the future, and an appeal to you guys to feel part of this, because I really think we're onto something big, which could be good for everyone in the room, but more importantly for society as a whole. So I hope to bring that across in the presentation. The goal is not to talk you guys to boredom, to death. The idea is to inspire you for what will come after the talk. Okay, so without further ado, you know everybody here. My kids actually stole my t-shirt with a lion, so I get to be just an owl today, but that's the idea. So, that's actually working. So I'd just like to start off with a video. As I said, today the talk is about movement. If you had told somebody from the street that you're coming to a presentation by a so-called retail broker, this is what they'll immediately think. So let's just get going with it.
Ahead lies the Arctic shore, and beyond the sea. And still the little animals surge forward. Their frenzy takes them tumbling down the terrace cliffs, creating tiny avalanches of sliding soil and rocks, seemingly indestructible lemmings. the final precipice. This is the last chance to turn back. Yet over they go, casting themselves bodily out into space.
Well, I think you know enough to understand the analogy now. So everybody's thinking a retail trader is some sort of stupid being that takes the leap for no good reason and commits suicide. I think everybody in this room knows better than that. And intuitively, many of us have felt that there was something wrong that was going on in the retail trading markets. It sort of felt, I mean, to me, that's one of the two most appealing visuals that I've seen in the last 5 years. The second one you'll see in a while. But it's basically saying, yeah, so something's going on, the big fish is eating the small fish, we just don't know why. And the story I'd like to tell you today is a bit of the introspective story of us understanding what's going on in the retail movement and what have we done to date to make sure that this uneven challenge doesn't continue. And after that, I'll pass on to Ali to explain that we're going to not just go on defense, but on the offense down the line. So, why are these lemmings jumping? Well, they're jumping because they've got a fundamental problem. If you're trading peanuts, you make peanuts. That's the long and the short of it. You can make 20–30% per year. If you're just trading your 10K of capital, you'll make £3,000 per year. You can't make a living off that. So what do the lemmings do? Well, they take on leverage and eventually commit suicide. Not because they're lemmings, it's because that's the only rational thing to do. It's like if you caught between the devil and the blue sea, either die of boredom by making 30% per year on peanuts, or just do a Hail Mary and hope for the best, which obviously ends up like that. But they're not really stupid, and we know that evolution is at work, and eventually, at the beginning they didn't know what they're doing, but they're actually learning and doing quite well out of it, right? So, how did, I'll talk about Darwinex 1.0 today, which is essentially all the side that you can see today, which is awfully explained, but it really has a target here, which is to solve this capital asymmetry. The thinking is, if instead of trading my own £10,000 like a lemming, I try and treat my £10,000 like they're 10 billion, and I do well, then eventually the billions will follow, and my capital issue goes away, okay? Now, how do you get to that? Well, it's 3 steps. So the first thing we did was to create a new sector in its own right. So everybody knows a so-called retail broker. Well, these retail brokers aren't really brokers. They're actually dealers who are making markets against their customers. So in many ways, a substantial part of the business model is making money from customers against customers. And the first decision we did was to say, well, even if it costs us money in the short term, and actually it still costs us money, we are never going to trade against a customer. We are going to become a broker who will pass on all the trades to the market. Our pitch is to try and be the best broker out there with the best execution conditions, and over time also to prove to people that we don't think of them as lemmings, but actually very worthy potential in the future, and that's why we've also differentiated through superior customer support. So the starting point was, well, let's try and do things the way we would like to be treated and build a proper broker that never trades against us. So the next thing was to solve a legal issue. As you know, managing investor capital is something that is a regulated activity, and without the permission to do so, well, you'd be in breach of the law, and you can't build a sustainable business model in breach of the law, despite what you see around with many other guys. So, what was the core insight of this? Well, we're going to be a broker like everyone else, but on top of it, we're going to build technology to create a crowdsourced asset manager where every one of the customers in our retail broker can list their intellectual property as a new financial asset at Darwin, at the Darwinex exchange, thus the name Darwinex. So this way what goes on is we are an FCA-regulated broker that's facing customers with the best opportunity to tackle the market on the right-hand side. But then in addition, we take on the reputational and regulatory risk of becoming an asset manager who is listing those strategies as a new financial asset for investors to back. What we then do is we collect a 20% success fee from the investors that we pass straight on to the traders. How do we make our money? This is one of the questions we get a lot. Well, retail brokerage is an extremely profitable strategy, provided you get customers to live forever. And that's really our quest. The quest is really not so much to attract new customers, it's every new customer we get should stay on for life. Provided that's the case, we make more than a very good living from the brokerage, and we can pass on the 20% success fee onto our traders. Now, you might wonder, why are we not keeping a cut in the success fee? Well, the answer is we actually did keep a cut in the success fee. For the ones who've been around for long enough, they know we used to pay out 15% of the success fee, i.e. 75%, and keep 25% of it. We realized a lot of the good traders already are managing assets from friends and family, and if we kept a cut on any of the assets, that actually disincentivizes traders to bring on the assets and management they've already got. So that way we basically say, pass through the whole thing, attract more and better traders, the assets under management will attract more traders, and then we break this whole chicken and egg situation. Because let's face it, this is, in the beginning, a very big chicken and egg. You've got no trader on day one, and no investor on day one. How do you get that thing moving? Okay? But that actually brings us to step 3. So not only are we not going to trade against customers, and not only are we actually going to put a regulatory phase to take trading customers under our umbrella, well, we're going to prove that we are different, that we believe all this diagnostic toolkit to find the right guys and all this risk management toolkit to protect the capital, well, we'll prove we believe it by actually being the first investor ourselves. So that's how the Darwinian tournament was born, and we started allocating capital initially in smaller amounts. This has now been ramped up to 2 million for 6 months, which amounts to 12 million of AUM of our own capital backing the traders, an allocation backing the traders for them to really see that we mean what we're doing. This will double up because we'll have the risk levels at 225 over time. And that was really the most powerful message that we could think of to say, well, not only are we not trading against our customers, we are actually actively trading with them. And in the process, we learned some lessons. So what were the key takeaways of that? Well, the first takeaway, and it's actually a great takeaway, there's 5 or 6 guys here that prove that retail traders are not lemmings. There's guys here who've made money consistently every year for the last 6 years, many of them month on month, which show, well, this is not just a utopia. Those guys have taught themselves how to survive, and they're actually making money, even in the absence of substantial assets under management. That's the one core insight. And thank you so much. There's Lars from Germany. There's a bunch of guys here who have trusted us from day one when we were still nothing, but we were absolutely nothing back then, and they have trusted from day one. So thank you so much. We wouldn't be here without you. So thank you. The other good thing is, at that point, once you have the good traders, you are past the chicken and egg problem. Why? Well, if you have traders where investors are making money, that actually is the most viral product out there. So nothing spreads faster than free money in a way. In that way, you set a motion a movement in motion whereby the more assets under management, the more traders, the more assets under management, and the whole thing starts to grow organically. Mind you, the other insightful thing for us is we are, believe it or not throwing any money at advertising at all. So all our expenses go into building a fantastic product, because we think if our customers like the product, they will recommend it, and there's no need to advertise a good product because the customers do it for you. So that was the second insight. And then we learned a couple of other interesting things which we could have never dreamt about when we got going. The first one is that it's not just a capital gap that is unfair about the thing, so that the house not only has more money, there's an additional benefit that the house has, and that is the house knows what everybody else is up to, but no one else knows what everybody else is up to. So Ali here, he doesn't know what's going on with other traders, but the house does. So there's an additional thing that we need to tackle, and we'll more on that in a while. But informational asymmetry is a substantial thing, and what I can say ahead of time is that the information contained in our trader community, not just the beta traders, but the community as a whole, is a highly predictive tool to know where markets are headed, and therefore it's a valuable asset in its own right. That was one of the insights. And the other insight is that lesson didn't come from us. It actually came from the traders themselves. So rather than have investors who are coming to back the traders, what we've learned is we've got traders who were trading FX and commodities and have embraced trading other traders with gusto. So they're asking for limit orders, take profit orders, stop losses, and a bunch of Darwin APIs. So really people have told us that we don't have a broker that invests in its traders. What we've got is an exchange listing a new financial asset whose only secret is really to align everyone's incentives. And a lot of people here are asking me, so how do we grow this thing? And my answer to them is, we don't, you do. I just wanted to show you a video that has really gotten me out of bed every Monday morning for the last 5 years, and believe me, there have been times where it wasn't easy, but I think it's worth it, so go for it.
So ladies and gentlemen, at TED we talk a lot about leadership and how to make a movement. So let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course you know, a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts, 3 is a crowd, and the crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers.